Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and we talk about what's going on in the world of Auburn Tiger fandom. If it's orange and blue, we talk about it here on this live show. We are currently broadcasting live on two different formats. The first of which being obviously right here in front of me, YouTube, the primary one. And we appreciate everybody who tunes in here each and every time we go live. We're also like to involve the social media folks every time we get on here and we switch it up, who gets access to it. Today it's the Twitter folks. Everybody wave to the Twitter folks over here and tell them hello and thank them for joining us as well. We always encourage our social media friends to come on over to YouTube for the better experience, because it is a little bit easier to interact with you here and keep up with your questions and comments, and we usually have a lot of them. So we do encourage you to come on over here. But regardless of where you're watching today, if you can do us a huge favor, especially if you enjoy this content on a regular basis, or if you're enjoying this particular stream today, you'll consider smashing that like button on YouTube. You can do the same on Twitter as well. It will help push the stream out to other Auburn fans that want to join in on the conversation today and be part of a very interesting topic that I didn't anticipate talking about today, if I'm completely honest. So today's stream primarily, we always have a main topic, is a full Auburn football roster breakdown, a courtesy of a media group that broke this down for everybody yesterday, and I'm going to give them credit here in a second because I don't want to pretend like I did the work to put all this together. Anybody could have done this, but it took a while to get all that together, so I want to give them credit. We'll talk about that in just a second. But any topic is fair game today, as it is on any live stream. If you want to talk about basketball, if you want to talk about something not sports related within the Auburn spectrum, we can do that here. So the show is produced by you and for you. So you get to pick what we talk about, but we'll probably stick heavily on that major topic. Before we get too much further in here, I want to always give you a heads up on what we've got going on today in the E2C network and ways you can help support our content here. You can see this on YouTube. The Twitter folks cannot see this, so sorry. It's another reason to come on over to YouTube. There are some links at the very top of the chat window for those of you that are watching live or on the replay. Those are some options that you have. The easiest thing is just to listen to the podcast, and if you are a listener on Apple Podcasts, if you could drop us a review as well. You can join the Booster Club. Thank you to all of you who have done that. Several of you are probably here watching live as well. And we take PayPal donations in the T Public store, where you can buy our logo and some other Auburn gear as well. All of that is at the top of the stream. The links you will need for that. And thank y'all for hitting the like button for those of you that are doing that right now. Let me say hello to a couple of people. I think I saw Jack's Tiger pop in over Twitter. They're worried. So if you're here, and I messed up, we should start the stream always by doing the Auburn family roll call. Where are you watching from right now? City, state. I think yesterday it wasn't live, but we had somebody from Brisbane, Australia, check in. Australia, where are you watching live from today? So you should put that in the chat window right now. I got to get back in the habit of doing that, and so we can know who we're all talking to today. Jacksonville, Florida, makes sense with Jack's Tiger. Tuscaloosa, Opelika, Birmingham, man, we're all over this. Dothan, all over the state of Alabama and further and beyond. I think we had Iowa yesterday too. I think we had somebody in Texas, California, Birmingham, Oak Mountain area. Everybody, we got a lot of the regular crew here today, so good to see you. Hey, keep posting those, and we'll see where everybody's calling in from. But let me start addressing some of your comments and questions. Stereotypical Auburn fan says, top 4 players are Tank, Roger McCreary, Owen Popeau, and Zachaby McClain. That's a pretty strong group. There's probably a few players that you could make an argument to beat. Why did you do a top 5, though? My top 4. You need a top 5. I got Smoke getting at least 3 interceptions next year. That's probably heavily likely, to be honest with you. So with Smoke Monday being as prolific as he is as a defensive back, he's what I love about Smoke Monday is his downhill presence as a defensive back. You know, it's one thing to be a great coverage guy, but to come down and make tackles in the open field, I think is really, really good. Good to see you, Junior Rosegreen. Thanks for being here, man. War Eagle to you. But yeah, I think that's one of his biggest. So I would honestly, for stereotypical Auburn fans, top 4, I would make an argument that Smoke needs to be put in there as well. Darius is asking starting QBs. Yeah, we're gonna. So what? Let me go ahead and address this at the top. The topic that I have today is the full Auburn roster breakdown, specifically for the spring, since we're done with the recruiting cycle. Fall or spring practice will be starting probably in the next month or so, leading up to A-Day and all that kind of stuff. This was put together by Tom Green of AL.com, so I want to make sure I give him full credit for doing this. I'm not going to sit here and say that I did the work. I was actually thinking about this yesterday, that I need to find some time to sit down and do that, and lo and behold, Tom Green does it. So thank you to Tom Green, and y'all should check out AL.com for all their stuff there if you want to see some of their things that they've got going on over there. So we'll be referencing that, and you can find that over there at that website if you want to follow along with it. But that's what I will be using for this discussion today. Preston says he's finally caught a live stream. Yeah, it's always great when we have people who have been trying to catch a live stream forever finally get here. That's the great thing. I get so many comments after live stream. I was like, I didn't get that. So another quick plug here, especially if you're on YouTube. If you have not subscribed and hit that notification bell right next to it, like you go and you click on it and it says like all like specialized notifications, but you hit all notifications, it will send you a notification in theory. YouTube's weird. When we go live, so that you won't miss it. I'm sad that we've got somebody having to put up with Tuscaloosa, though, today, calling in from there. Ooh, Corinth, Texas, Columbus, Georgia, Western Kentucky. Wiz Dragons here. Yeah, let's see that. That's a lot of people here every year. Okay. I was going to put Smoke at my 5, but he's too inconsistent in pass coverage. Yeah, and I think that's why Smoke is, he was best utilized in that Kevin Steele defense where you kind of had a hybrid coverage linebacker guy, and I think that's probably where he fit really nicely. My nose is really itchy today. I know I keep scratching it, but I don't know why. Got the allergies going on. Talking about the roster today, we'll be talking about the quarterbacks first. Most likely, yeah. I mean, it's right here at the top of the list that they have prepared here, so we can talk about that first. If you all, and Josh finally caught it on the lunch break. See, that's what I was aiming for here. Is if I do this about this time every day, roughly, either you catch it right, you can catch the replay right when you go on your lunch break or something like that. But maybe we'll catch some of you live. Oh, Skinny Boy says I moved here 2 years ago to be closer to his brother. Well, I'm sorry that y'all both have to live there in Tuscaloosa here. Everyone's job is up for grabs except for Tank, Playboy D says. Interesting. Junior, I have the best secondary in the nation, and Auburn recruiting my boys, and they are 4-star kids. Well, we need to get on that. What school are you at, Junior? So just remind us there in the chat what school you're at. We need to, who's got connections to the football program needs to get the coaches over there right now. Because if they're anything like Junior Rose Green, they're going to be hard hitters. I think Smoke may actually be a better small linebacker than he is a safety. I wouldn't go that far. I think he's still a good defensive back, but I see your point. Hallandale High School is where Junior is coaching, and we need to get the staff over there to go check them out. Maybe they will. It's a new staff trying to get their feet on the ground. Here's the thing is I have and Cornelius Williams, the wide receiver coach, I'm very excited about what he's going to do for the state with where he's been throughout. If he is not the lead recruiter in Alabama for Auburn, Coach Harsin's already made his first mistake. Just with his connections and his ability that he's been. I mean, he's been at Jacksonville State. I think he's been at North Alabama. He's been at Troy. He's been at South Alabama. He was a Troy wide receiver. He's just got high school connections galore. Rita says that we're going to be better than people think. I think so. There's two ways you can look at this. Auburn was not good in most sense of the word last year. So they are definitely going to surprise some people next year because expectations are low. So I think that's probably a likely thing to happen, Rita. But I wouldn't get your hopes up on something really big happening next year. I'm sorry. We all got rogue Bama fans in the family. Can't believe that Sawyer Pate doesn't have a Scully yet. So I keep saying this, and that's how these live streams work. Is I come to the table with a main topic, and we can bounce around as you guys like. But I keep saying that we're going to talk about the next recruiting wave here, but we keep having big topics pop up. So we're going to get there eventually. Start maybe looking at the next wave of kids and stuff. Who's already? I think the next. If something else doesn't keep breaking, some other big topic doesn't keep coming up, the next thing we'll do is talk about who's here on the recruiting class for 2022, and then maybe look at needs and something like that. Junior says Eric Weldon, quarterback, 6'5", 215. He's a 2022 prospect, 4-star. Alonzo Allen, defensive player of the year, 6'1", 205, 2022 4-star. So, Coach Harsin, I know you're not watching this. Coach Williams, I know you're not watching this, but somehow you are. Get to Hallandale High School, see one Junior Rose Green. If you need his credentials, type in Georgia Big Hit on YouTube, and there are his credentials. Kobe Hudson will be a breakout wide receiver position. Capers will be held back by the injury, most likely. There's always a little bit of a lag. You saw that's what plagued Elijah Stove for years here at Auburn, because it felt like he was here for 10 years, just could never stay healthy. But if he could have, it would have been an amazing thing to do, to watch. The state of Alabama in high school football is always overlooked, especially at Oak Mountain is a factory for many athletes, especially the basket. I don't know if it's so much basketball now, but for a while, basketball players were coming out of droves out of Oak Mountain. 2020 Auburn football was like watching the Twilight Zone. I've seen some seasons that are far closer to the Twilight Zone than that one. All right, let's do this. Again, y'all are coming in here in droves already, so thank y'all so much for smashing that like button too. All right, so this is from Tom Green on AL.com. He broke all this down. So what he's got is seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and then the commits that are scheduled to currently commit to Auburn this next cycle. So the freshmen he's already inserted the people that have signed for this last cycle. So that's what we're going to talk about here. War Productions, you didn't miss much. We're just getting started on the main topic here, so good to see you. All right, so quarterback. Obviously, we're going to start there. This is your breakdown, and I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on it. Senior, Grant Loy, grad student. Junior, Bo Nix. Now, remember, always in this, it's almost like you've got to put another column that says senior, potential second senior, because everybody's got an extra year of eligibility because of 2020. Bo Nix, Jr., no sophomore quarterbacks. Khalil Garnett's a redshirt freshman, and Demetrius Davis, and then the commit Holder Grenier. Junior says Jalen Marshall, cornerback, 6'4", and then 4-star Anthony Rose, 6'4". Man, he's got some good night. He's got some tall boys and defensive back over there at Hallandale. Somebody get the Auburn staff on the horn right now to get them over there. Jeez. My friend Ben King, who used to be co-host of the No Huddle podcast here on the network, one of the things he always lamented about is that our cornerbacks always seem shorter. And you do see that a lot. That's not like an unheard of thing to happen, but he was like, I just need some taller guys to compete with these giants that, the other teams are throwing up against us at wide receiver. But usually cornerbacks, correct me, but Junior's going to have a better understanding of that than me, is that they tend to be on the short side. But what he's putting out here, that's pretty good sized boys. I'll take them. If it was up to me, Junior. Jay Clay, good to see you on Twitter today. Come on over to YouTube. I've seen you over here. I know you may not be able to, but that's good to see you bouncing around back and forth. All right, so Grant Loy, Bo Nix, Khalil Garnett, Demetrius Davis, Holder Grenier is coming in as a commit. So there are no sophomore quarterbacks. I think, with Demetrius Davis coming in, my impressions of that situation is that Khalil, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and I probably am butchering it, has probably not going to see his time if Demetrius Davis is as good as everybody anticipates him to be. The obvious situation here is Bo Nix. I'm starting to see this notion that Grant Loy is somehow going to beat out Bo Nix for the starting spot. If that were going to happen, it would have happened last year. And I get it, and there's just I had to deal with someone yesterday here on this channel that is there's just this anger at Bo Nix, and it just, to me, it's very unbecoming of some people. Let's give the kid a year under this new system, see what he can do. If not, then you've got some talented players that are ready to play, whether it's Demetrius Davis, Khalil Garnett, and you've got a experienced quarterback in Grant Loy that could get you through the year. But I think Bo Nix is going to be the starter and is going to have a comeback. Well, let me show you that. He's going to have a comeback year, but I wouldn't call it like an outstanding year. It's a new system, new offensive. Well, it's not going to be a new offensive line, but it's going to be a lot of new things that could wreck it right here. Back up. Let's see. You should check out Tay Meadows from Handley High School, 5'10", 180 class of 2022. Stereotypical Auburn fan. He's given his rankings here: Bo, Davis, Lloyd. And I think that makes the most sense. And the problem is I hate to say that about Garnett, is like dismissing him, but we just haven't seen him do anything. And so maybe he gets in there and proves that he deserves to be number 2. Maybe pushes for number 1. Here's the thing. If there's great competition at the quarterback spot, Auburn benefits because either we get the better quarterback out of it. We get the better quarterback out of it regardless, but it's going to push people like Bo Nix even further if there's someone sniffing at his tail trying to take his spot. Casey says we've got a 6'11" center who was offers from everywhere, 3-star, 17 player at his 3-star at his position. Yeah, I've seen about that guy. Where's Dylan Brooks? The Dylan Brooks fan wagon continues to push on, and I'm not saying that I'm not a part of it, but I'm just not going to put my hope in that right now. I'm literally done if Auburn loses to Vanderbilt basketball tonight. Look, I get it. I know y'all are frustrated right now. I don't understand why, because it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things anyway. But I still understand a little bit. Junior says Mike Bobo is going to get Bo Nix right. I completely agree. I don't think it's going to happen completely this year. I do think that over time this year you're going to see a progression in Bo, especially you fit. And I hate. People get, someone got upset yesterday at me for having the notion to, criticize the unit of the offensive line as opposed to putting all the blame on Bo Nix. You fix Bo Nix, his issues, by fixing the offensive line. Because there's nowhere out there that you can say that offensive line was good. They're going to say the exact same thing. When your quarterback's running around, scrambling for his life, is now shifty, like he's going to be, he's just jumpy because he can't get his feet set or have time to be protected. It's going to affect his psyche a little bit. But I do agree that Mike Bobo will probably help him out a little bit. How much, we'll find out. And if he doesn't, they'll put the next guy in. And hopefully he'll work out. Grant Loy will win the Heisman this season. And if that's the case, Josh, I'm all for it. It ain't going to happen. But you may be right. Let's see. There's Jared on he made it over here to Facebook or to YouTube. I've changed my stance on Bo Nix after the Super Bowl, but he does need to show me something this year. So I think the healthy conversation, and I kind of figured the conversation was going to go this way about Bo. I have seen several people just like you, Skinny Boy, say the exact, and someone who's been adamant about his distrust of Bo Nix, change his opinion. We talked about that yesterday. I think that was a wake-up call for people who are reasonable and realize, there is something to this thing where Bo Nix is having to run for his life the entire time. And that could be part of his problem. It's not his only problem. There's still responsibility that relies on the leader of the offense and then arguably the leader of the team to make it happen. And someone even brought up the comment that, he wasn't even the most hurried quarterback. They said Kyle Trask was. I didn't look into all the statistics, but I'll just take them at his word. But do you think that Kyle Trask is a more mobile and more athletic quarterback than Bo Nix? He's not. There's a reason that he got sacked more. It's because Bo can evade. He's a playmaker. It's gotten to the point where I need to wear the lucky Cam Newton jersey in basketball. So I had a lucky headband that I've worn since my junior year of college. Never washed it. It's gross. Got a sweat stain across it, but I've retired it because it finally seemed to have lost its luck. Do you think Sal Cannella is a sleeper player for the NFL? Seems like a Robert Tonyan type of player. Not sure who that is. I don't. Sal has the build to be a great NFL player. I don't, and I'm just. This is when I say I don't know. It's not me assuming. It's just I just don't know that he has the other things that you need to be a great NFL player. He's got the body, the build, and he's shown he can make some great catches. I don't know. I would be all for that. I celebrate any Auburn player that sees success at the professional level, and I'm not going to downplay their opportunities because they will have a far greater opportunity than I ever will. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely got the build, though. We got some NFL talk going on in here. Watching Bo play stresses me out. Understandable. Watching the whole team stresses me out. It's the nature of being an Auburn fan. Joking about Grant Lloyd. Bo will be the starter. I think Tank has a real shot at the Doak Walker. Tank has got a shot at many things here. All right. Robert Tanya is a tight end from the Packers. Key weapon. Picked him up off the practice squad. He did well. Remember, Neil, I've not kept up with our Packers quite so well since they started burning me with all the Alabama pickups. Darius says, if Tank doesn't declare, I will be really surprised, being honest. So we'll touch on running back here in just a second. I'll give you the full breakdown. I don't think he can declare, right? I think you have to be a third-year player to declare. Is that right? Because he's a true freshman. He would be a true sophomore this year. I think you had to have been a redshirt sophomore to declare early. Skinny Boy says it's not all his, but he has to develop more than he has and put the O-line. But the O-line is, and I think that is a fair statement to say on the Bo Nix saga here, is that there is responsibility. There are some changes that need to be made by him personally, but there's a lot more going on that is out of his control. It falls on the other players. Linda, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Linda is a Patreon member, part of our E2C Network Booster Club. Thank you so much, Linda, for being a part of that. Does the point guard stay more than 1 year? It doesn't look well. I don't know. I keep going back and forth on it. I was for a long time saying no. I don't know now. Yeah, okay, it looks like everybody's confirmed that Tank is not going to be able to leave until next year. All right, speaking of which, let's talk about running backs a little bit because that's kind of where it shifted at this point. Running back breakdown, here it is. Seniors, Shaun Shivers, Devin Barrett coming back. No juniors, so sophomore Tank Bigsby, and then freshman Jarquez Hunter. That is your breakdown as of this point of how everything is. So obviously Tank's the starting running back. There's no questions about that whatsoever. I think it's obvious that Shaun Shivers is the backup and is going to see, pretty significant time as well, even in any offense, because he's going to be the guy that gives him a break. How much time Devin Barrett sees, I don't know. I get the feeling that this is just a depth position for him. He'll probably see more time than he did as a defensive back. I'm kind of interested in Jarquez Hunter, to be honest with you. I have no reason to think this otherwise, but he feels a lot like that Trey Mason pickup. Had some people, a lot of people wanted him, but nobody would really pull the trigger on him, and it's somehow we got him. I don't know why. Trey Mason and Jarquez Hunter seem to be very similar stories, and it's just a feeling. There's no really anything to back that up. What do you guys think about that? We got some people sharing a breakdown of their thing there. Here's the thing, is that barring injury, Tank's got 2 years. The Tank is going to be rolling for 2 years. After that point, so you can probably expect Auburn to go get a transfer this year. You can probably expect them to recruit that heavily and then redshirt some boys because you're really using 2 senior running backs at this point. And after this year, currently, it's just Tank and Jarquez. And there's a year spread between them. So we'll see what happens. But what do you guys think? Tank is the best player in college football, bold but true. You're not the only one saying that. I think it was PFF said that he was the best returning as the stat group. They said he was the best one. Number 1, Tank. Number 2, Shivers. Number 3, Barrett. I would put Jarquez at number 3, to be honest with you. Who signed? Because we went from 29 to 27. I think it's Jarquez is what pushed us up to 27. I could be wrong. But you remember, things break on this show all the time. Like breaking news every time we're on here. I think Devin Barrett will shock a lot of people. He has the game-breaking speed. So here's the issue, though. He's a very similar, except for size, in my opinion, player to Shaun Shivers. I know Shaun is very short, but he is stout. He's a bowling ball. So I think his skill set is not something that Shaun can't already do, and we already know Shaun's a very capable and very reliable running back. So I don't know that Devin is going to see, especially when you've been at a different position. Maybe you're right, but I just think it was a move where he could see some more time outside of the defensive back because we're pretty set there right now. Tank, Shivers, Barrett, Hunter. Skinny Boy kind of agrees with me on that, on the comparison with Trey Mason, it seems like. Okay. I hope everyone gets involved this year. I think you probably will see that because, like I said, you're going to see Tank as the primary guy. Sean's going to be seeing significant time after him. And then after that, depending on injuries, and I'm just going to knock on wood, you can expect at least one injury, even if it's minor, throughout the year. So somebody is going to be seeing some time they normally wouldn't. If the O-line gets fixed, even a little, Tank will hit 3 home runs of 50-plus yards. He'll hit definitely 3 of those, I think, regardless of whether the offensive line fixes or not, because the man's a beast. So Eddie says, and kind of coming back on here, Bo has skills and technical problems. His leadership ability is suffering because he tries to win by himself. So, Eddie, I'm going to disagree with you on a couple of points there. Bo has the skills. Technical problems, I can give way to you on that. Those have come from the issues that have happened with the entirety of the offense at this point, and those fall on him as well. I will strongly disagree with you on the leadership ability. Just because the guy is trying to do a lot by himself shows you that what he is trying to do is not selfish. There was nothing happen without Bo trying to make something happen last year in a lot of cases. And also, I don't think you can question his leadership ability with the heart that he showed in that bowl game after getting injured and refusing to come out. And we saw what happened when he did on the few series. Quarterbacks that came in didn't do good. So the fact that he was willing to do that in a game that didn't matter for him when they were out of it, that shows a lot of heart. That shows a lot of leadership. So I know you probably weren't going that route, but I just want to be very clear about that. But yes, I think that a new coach, a new fresh mindset, all that kind of stuff, a new start for him is going to be great. The hate for Bo Nix is just incredible. You say one good thing about the guy, and then you start getting dislikes. It's hilarious. Let's see. Cody Brown from Tennessee may get released from his national letter of intent and be more depth. How many players have been released from Tennessee at this point? Anybody know? Emmanuel Henderson, yes, is an Auburn fan, #1 running back in the country, 5-star. I think that's the one everybody's got their eye on. I've been kind of looking at him a little bit too. It'd be a nice centerpiece to bring in, maybe redshirt him, I think, behind Tank. I don't know. I don't know what happens. And then if you get another running back with that, and maybe have him for a little bit longer. Let him get even bigger and stronger. PFF didn't say he was the best player in the nation, best returning. Excuse me. That's what I meant, War Productions. Thank you for clarifying that. Who do you compare Tank's skill set to? Davlin Cook? I think that's a fair comparison, Josh. But it still doesn't feel quite right to me. I hate to say it, but I'm kind of thinking about some Alabama running backs right now. I don't really, and those don't even kind of fit it for me all that much. He'll be better than Davlin Cook. Yes, he will. It's hard to keep up with UT Springer Show. Every day a player is leaving. Oh, man. This is Jared, thank you so much for the kind words, Brett. We really appreciate you being here. Smash that like button on the way out if you haven't. Okay. Let me back up here. I think I got it a little bit. Let me address this real quick, and then we'll move on to some other positions here. Jalen Green just confirmed in an interview that he would have went to Auburn. I saw that happen right as literally as I was pushing go live here. I saw the Jalen Green comment, which is encouraging, right? To know that even though he went a different route to the G League, he was coming to Auburn. It says a lot about Bruce Pearl and his recruiting staff. Landon King has jumped us into the 27. Did he move up in rankings? Is that what happened? All right, let's see here. Let me back up here and go back to this. All right, let's do wide receivers real quick. Wide receiver, these are seniors. Cedric Jackson, did not realize that he is a senior. That hurts my heart a little bit. Kalen Green, grad. Kalen Newton. No juniors. Sophomores, Javaris Johnson, Kobe Hudson, Zevion Capers. And then you've got freshmen J.J. Evans, Elijah Cannon, Malcolm Johnson, Hal Presley, and Tavares Dawson. So what does that show you right there? A very young, very inexperienced as a collective, not in individuals, but as a collective group. Doesn't mean they're not talented. Doesn't mean their potential is not high. When a lot of you asked on a previous stream, which group am I most worried about? This is why. With an offensive line that struggled, a quarterback that's got to get a few things worked out, we cannot have the wide receivers being the other nail in the coffin of this offense. And it could be. That's just me preparing for it. However, the upside of this group, you'll have a very solid, what could happen in a year's time after this is you've got now a heavily strengthened depth chart with all of these young guys that are going to be there. And you bring in some fresh people after that, maybe a phenom freshman here or there. This could be the strongest group in a year or two. But it hurts my heart that Shed Jackson is a freshman. Or excuse me, a senior. I really thought he wasn't. Eddie, I think that's a fair statement about Bo, that he takes too much on himself. And I think that comes with a little bit of growing as well. I think he wants to win so bad that he just can't get out of that system. And that's what he had to do in high school a lot with his team. So I think it's a little bit of a learning curve for him. What do you guys think about the wide receivers overall? Kobe Hudson, Canyon, Capers, Jackson, and Presley. I think Kobe's probably the guy that everybody is solid on for the most part. Canyon was a surprise last semester, and Capers as well. I'd put Shed Jackson. I think he's going to have a good senior year, up there a little bit higher, personally. But maybe we'll see. A. Robinson says Cody Brown and Dylan Brooks would make a decent class. They would. They absolutely would. I'm just not putting a lot of stock in it right now. Too much at play with that crazy old Tennessee stuff right there. So Wade says Patrick Mahomes scrambled and almost threw in a touchdown from a complete horizontal position. You know who else did that? Cam Newton. Saw that myself at Kentucky his year. If that was Bo Nix, some people would be complaining about his footwork and mechanics. So this is what I'm talking about with the complaints about Bo Nix. There's a lot of people that are like you said, praising another player doing it, but not praising the other version of that. There's just some people that have decided they're not going to like somebody, and then they're going to just do it. Without Gus Malzahn here, without Kevin Steele here now, they need a scapegoat, and that's just going to be their guy. There's nothing wrong with constructively being critical of him, but there are just some people that are out to be upset about him. And I don't think anybody here is necessarily that. There's been a few in the past, but anyway. And Rita says, I think competition will make him better. A. Robbins says, honestly, Presley is better than Jackson. We'll find out this year. I don't think so, but we'll find out. Casey says, Jackson, Hudson, Canyon, Capers, Newton, Presley, a transfer, or the guy from Virginia. Another group list here. Canyon, Kobe, Cedric, Capers, Newton, Presley, Malcolm Johnson. Forgot about him. Javaris Johnson and J.J. Evans. I'm surprised J.J. Evans isn't higher up for people. I heard so many good things about him coming in last year and just not it just hasn't amounted to much yet. And he didn't really see any time last year. I think did he redshirt? Let's see. Yes, he did. He did redshirt, so that's why we didn't see time. All right, so that's wide receivers here. Tight ends, senior. This is every Auburn fan's favorite position, and every Auburn fan's favorite position. I cannot talk. Favorite position to lament about. Seniors: John Samuel Schenker. Had to slow down to say that one. No juniors. Sophomores: Tyler Fromm, Luke Deal, J.J. Pegues, and Brandon Frazier. So let me just say this part here. This might be the year that you see them heavily lean on the tight ends because you've got a lot of potential at tight end position. And I think a lot of people think that this offense is going to use it a little bit more. And then Landon King's coming in as well. So you could see tight ends being utilized a lot more than some of these younger wide receivers. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some sets, whether it's Kobe Hudson, Zevion Capers if he gets better, and then like a J.J. Pegues and Brandon Frazier type of situation. What do you guys think about tight ends? You talking about wide receivers? Yes, I think somebody potentially could transfer out of there. There's a very, very big group there. J.J. Pegues will start. So I don't know that he'll necessarily start, but he will be heavily utilized. The guy, you don't waste that talent. That talent is incredible. You don't waste it. Let's see. J.J. Pegues for quarterback. As entertaining as that is, I do not want that whatsoever. Stereotypical Auburn fan says Frazier, JJ, or JJ3. Oh wait, JJ Shanker, Deal, King, 99.9 Fromm. Are you giving Fromm the hate simply because of his brother? Hey, he won points for me by jilting Georgia and coming to us simply by that. J.J. Pegues will be able to go to the NFL just based off of pure athleticism. It seems like that. I wouldn't go that far, Josh, but he's got to prove a few more things, but we'll see. Apparently, people are anticipating Tyler Fromm will transfer. Shanker will be a beast on the diamond this year. I forgot he was playing baseball, and we'll take it to the football field. Great. I love two-sport athletes. I think they're always fun to watch. And, yeah, they can be really good here. Casey says JJ, Luke, John, Tyler, Brandon, and Landon. Probably not a bad breakdown there. Okay, that's tight ends. You can keep those coming in real quick. Let's do offensive line. And that might be what we finish off with. We might come back another time and do defense. But I think this is the group that everybody is most anticipating wanting to get fixed. I think this is probably what we wanted to talk about today. For the most part. We'll see. Let's see how long we take to get through this. All right, so they have broken it down by offensive tackle and guard centers. So we'll do offensive tackle first. This is seniors. Brodarius Ham, Austin Troxell, Alec Jackson, and Brendan Coffey. Junior, Killian Zaire. No sophomores, and then only 2 freshmen at offensive tackle, Gardner Langlow and Colby Smith. So, when you look at that, you've got a lot of solid options at offensive tackle. Brodarius Ham, Austin Troxell, I would assume, would be your starters. Just looking at that. What do you guys think? Alec Jackson, probably going to see significant time as well. And then Killian and Brendan are pretty good backups at offensive tackle. So the key here for me is that we need to redshirt Gardner and Colby right now and start building them up for the future, because I really think we have got to start building for that going forward. So what do you guys think about the offensive tackles? The O-line's footwork was awful this year. Coach Friend has a lot on his plate, but I'm going to have to trust his process. So in y'all's opinion, let me ask you this. Do you value Will Friend's coaching or is recruiting more? And don't give me that little, well, both, but an honest opinion, which one do you think is the better thing that he brings to the table, recruiting or coaching? Because to me, it sounds like recruiting, which could get a little scary with the whole Herb Hand situation that we had a little bit ago. I've never seen 300 pounds move like that with J.J. Pegues. I don't think any of it. It was oddly graceful. That's why I called him a Pigsis. Stereotypical Auburn fan says it doesn't look bad. On paper, this looks really good, right? So, you would think, as bad as they have had of a time thus far, this could be the year it all comes together. And, for a lot of you that are hoping for and believe that there's going to be this magical season again this year, this might be one of those areas where you can look at and say, maybe so. Maybe so. Because they have been here for a year and maybe they finally put it all together. The problem is, after this point, all of those guys are gone, except for Killian Zaire, Gardner Langlow, and Colby Smith. Now, granted, remember, as we said, there should be another column, second senior. These players could get another year, which would probably be beneficial for some of them if they want to have a successful NFL career. We'll see, though. Depends on what the draft is like for offensive linemen this year. If it's a favorable year, they probably all go. Dude can fly for a 300-pounder. Yes, he can. Langlow on campus now will push for a starting position. Really, I haven't been hearing that, but that's good news if it happens. Without coaching, recruiting becomes irrelevant. Very true. Recruiting, since we haven't had any. We just lost out to a lot of them. What's up? Auburn Elvis is in the house. By the way, if you haven't, he is our host of the only equestrian podcast out there. I think we can definitively say that, Auburn Elvis. And he has put his new episode out today, breaking down what's been going on in college equestrian just before Auburn gets started this week. But also, his new rankings are out. You can go to e2cnetwork.com. It's on the front page right there for week 7. It's the only equestrian rankings that you will ever need again, because it's the best ones out there, because he actually does his research on it. But go check those out. It's on the front page of e2cnetwork.com, and you can find links to it on our social media. We've been posting it today, and his as well. If you're not following him on Instagram, you need to. He's got some images to go with that too. But yes, this is the foosballs, Auburn Elvis. They need to stay healthy and have time to build chemistry. Yes, they do. Casey says Austin Killian. Maybe. Ham, Coffee, Smith. I would put Ham still above Austin at this point, but maybe. The only one worth listening to, at least. Hey, no question. That was funny. I laughed really. I laughed real hard, Elvis, when you did the equitation over feelings. Recruiting's been good over the last decade. We just didn't have the staff that could develop the talent. I would 100% agree with you on the Herb Hand side of that. Herb Hand ruined the offensive line. And that's on Coach Malzahn. That's me as a big Coach Malzahn supporter, saying that the worst mistake he ever made was hiring Herb Hand. Hands down. And it probably is ultimately what got him fired. Cedric says Zaire Ham. Everybody's high on Zaire. I'm not so high on him right now, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Coffee and then Colby Smith. Yes, you can follow Auburn Elvis on Twitter. I think he's on Facebook. He is on Facebook too, but you can follow him there as well for that. The Elect says haven't heard any good news out of 24/7 Sports aside from Paul defending Harsin by not blaming his predecessor. This isn't so. Here's what's funny. Look, quick aside, and then let's talk about guards and centers. Again, I've given credit to Tom Green of AL.com for putting this list together for the depth issue chart here. But here's the thing: is I forget his name. Goodman put that scathing article out about how Coach Harsin's already falling behind, and in the so it's a title that gets you to click, and probably in that article, which I didn't take the time to read it because I just don't feel like warranting that. It's meant to get you to click. It probably lays out a much less scathing piece than the headline is, but it got so bad that the guy's having to go on a press tour, it seems like, because I think they've scheduled a live video for him to explain that notion. They definitely got some issues with that guy. Love Zaire's size. I don't know anything else about him. He's got good, size is great, but you got to be able to use it properly. The article was stupid, wasn't it? It was definitely bad. Definitely bad stuff here. All right. Last group here. Guards and centers. Nick Brahms, these are seniors. Tayshawn Manning. Brandon Council. It's a graduate football senior. Juniors. Jaleel Irvin. Cameron Stutz. Sophomore, Keandre Jones. And then freshmen's Avery Jernigan, who's redshirted, and Chase Johnson is redshirted. So the guard centers seem to be set up depth-wise a little bit better than the offensive tackles, and you would need to because they kind of are interchangeable to some degree. I don't really like putting centers together with guards, but I understand the point there. So probably going to have what Nick Brahms, again, is the center. That makes Tayshawn Manning your starting guard. maybe a Brandon Council again, or maybe one of these other guys that works their way into at this point. So I feel a little bit better about the guard center situation, especially recruiting wise. But tackles we have to go get. It is going to be bad if we don't. SECN, sorry, he's moved up 20 spots in rankings in a month. Talking about Harsin. That's the way you got to do, you have to play the game, but you also have to be willing to take the backlash, and that's how you do it. Remember, media people, me included, their job is to get you to click, to stay here. So sometimes those headlines are meant to draw you in, and they did a good job, right? The article wasn't as critical as the headline. Harsin inherited a terrible situation, which I don't necessarily agree with that. The exposing Gus in a bigger way. Of course, we're not going to get into that. I don't think we're going to agree on that. But yeah, he is not inheriting a good situation. The situation that was not ideal got even worse by firing Gus with what the fallout of all that happens is. So that's why I continue to caution people that this year is going to be one that is going to require patience overall. About those guards and centers, any of those stand out to you? Anything that you think about? Saw him live this morning. He is a horrible speaker, has nothing to back up his headline. Well, that's how I know he's on a press tour to kind of to manage the fallout with AL.com. So yeah, and I'm not a great public speaker anyway, so I can't criticize him on that. I'm just here doing the best I can. Harsin said it was difficult to recruit in a pandemic and with little time. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, right? Everybody's got that problem. It's a fair point for anybody to make this year. Skinny Boy said Malzahn didn't recruit well compared to as usual. I think you should give every coach a pass for this year because of simply that and because of what he was dealing with and all that kind of stuff. I'm very curious as to what Gus does going forward. Will he take the Chisholm route and go back to coaching? He doesn't strike me as a commentator. He could be a coaching clinic type of guy. I think Coach Malzahn will be back when the right. And I think Coach Chisholm has even been quoted in saying that he talked to him after the firing and said, why don't you take the year off and just reevaluate things, and there's probably going to be some jobs opening up because there were a lot of programs that did the right thing and didn't make rash decisions in a pandemic year, and they're going to want to make some of those moves after a normal year if things don't get better for the coaches that they have there. So at this point, I think Gus just sits on that nice, was it $21 million, something like that, $22 million that he got. Enjoys, kind of takes stock of things, entertains any suitors that come his way, and I think he'll take he'll probably take a Power 5 role, but head coaching position, if not an offensive coordinator position, and probably one of the lower teams, and then see what happens from there, and maybe he works his way back. I don't think this is the last you've seen of Coach Malzahn. Harsin's done a great job. Yes, I believe. I think we all miss T. Will. But I just realized that he has reunited with Rhett Lashley, which is awesome. They're taking over Miami. It's becoming Auburn 2.0. Right guard Brandon, left guard Jones, center Nick. Looking for a big year from Brahms. He needs to be a leader up front, and he's got plenty of experience. What's up with these folks making fun of the way the Harsin's family looks and dresses slow news day? So Auburn Elvis, again, I want to be careful how I address this one, but I think it's an interesting topic that you break up. It is a slow news day when you know that happy nouns. I will say this. Their family seems to be very heavy on, how do you say this nicely? They like the idea of being influencers. If that kind of leads you, and just kind of, you don't have to do too much digging to figure that out. So that, not a knock on them. Hey, if that's what you want to do, all the more power to you. But it is a slow news day when we're having to criticize looks and things like that. I'm here to talk about football and other sports and other things that matter. But yes, it is a slow news cycle. Um, let's see. Gus could be the next head coach in Michigan. Maybe. I wouldn't wish that on him. That's like going to, it's like, choosing to come to Auburn because you got to compete with Alabama. Let's see. All right. Cedric says guard, Jones, Manning, Johnson, Irvin, a center, Council, and Brahms. Okay. We'll switch up there. Not a fan of Brahms, but more than likely he starts in Council at one of the guards. I think that's probably more likely. Yeah, it's crazy what people will just get on the tizzy about Auburn Elvis. The time of Harsin's hire was the major fallback should have happened last year. Nah, I don't think so. Uh, Harsin wasn't warranting of a hire next year or the year before that. That was next year. Last year that shouldn't have happened. Here's what I want to see. I want to. When do you guys let the hate of Gus Malzahn go? And I would say you guys, those of you that are just adamant about that, and that's the only thing that you're posting about. At some point, you have to let that go. At some point. Auburn Elvis says, let them be influencers. At least they're not out there kissing players during a pandemic. Oh, Auburn Elvis with your funny takes all the time. Anyway, yes, it is a slow news day. All right, we're going to say goodbye to the Twitter people. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. We'll stick around just a little bit longer for everybody else here. Really quickly, let me look at the rest of this. Yeah. I don't think defense would take us as long to go through, but why don't we just save that for another day? I think this one was probably more entertaining to talk about with offense because that's the big questions and that's the thing everybody wants to see improvement in. So that's probably why we spent as much time as we did on that one. So we'll spend maybe another live stream breaking down this list of the defensive players here. Let's see here. Yeah, the only thing I'll say on the Gus stuff is that y'all will have to just let go of that at some point and be ready to move forward with it. So anyway, what was I had to think here. Okay, let me do this. Last minute comments and questions for you all. Not last minute, like I'm not going to just rush off here, but I want to get your anything else that you're wanting to talk about, even if it's on this topic or the topics we've been talking about or something new. Get those in right now. Let me do a couple things for you all as we normally do. If you haven't checked out some of these ways, at the top of the stream, there are very top. You got to go, and I'll put them at the bottom here too at the end of the show. I guess I could start doing them now, but I'll do it at the end. There are ways that you can help support our content here. It's the Booster Club. Join that. You can do it for as little as $1 a month. Help support the content that we do here and get yourself featured on a podcast too, telling your Auburn story. You can donate through PayPal, listen to the podcast. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please do take the time to go give us a review. Even if we're not worth only a star, we can always take constructive criticism. But that would help spread it out to other Auburn fans out there. And then you can go to our TeePublic store. All those links are at the top, and I'll put them at the end of the stream in the chat window if you want to check that one out. Let's see. Still got the whole. We still got conversations going on about the whole Gus dynamic here. Look. So here's what you need to know about what's going to happen on these streams. We're not going to be entertaining people kind of being rude about Coach Malzahn. We can discuss him, but I think it's best. It's one of those things that you just let it go at this point. Because if you want the people that are love you, Auburn Elvis. I'm not going to silence you guys. You guys can talk about it all you want. But at some point, we as an Auburn fan base have to move forward together. And we have to be able to recognize that Coach Malzahn did a lot of amazing things for us. And we should be thankful for that. His time is done. And, people like me are going to disagree whether it was the right time or not. But continuing to call him a high school coach, continuing to, just focus on all the negative stuff, it only makes you look worse. So I will hope that y'all all consider that going forward. Thank you for making me obsessed with finding out what Harsin's family dress is like. uh, let's see. Let's see. There are too many talk shows who seem to talk about nothing else except being Gus and Bo haters, and that's that Eddie. That's the thing here is what our network, our family that we're trying to build here is about our love of stuff, and we can discuss the hard stuff as long as we do it constructively here. But I just don't. It's not fun to sit there and just dog on people the whole time. That it's just not fun whatsoever, and it just makes me miserable. And I think it makes most reasonable people miserable as well. Um, they dress better than Cam. Cam's dress code the last couple of years has definitely downgraded a little bit. I'm worried about Cam. I would love one day to get to interview him on Auburn Roots. I just don't know that you know will ever happen. I would love to see that happen. I met Cam before he was Cam Newton. Like before all the hype was about him. He walked in the store, nobody knew who he was. And, what the store I was working at, so that was a cool thing there. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for today. I really appreciate all of y'all being here today. If you enjoyed the content today, please do smash that like button on the way out. If you didn't, I understand. But if you can, that will help push the stream out to others. If you haven't subscribed, please do that too. And hit that notification bell because we do these live streams on a random basis. So right now, because I have a day job and stuff like that. But as time goes on, we might be able to do this on a more regular basis. But hitting the notification bell along with the subscribe button will help us. We're on the road to 900 subscribers. It's taken us a while to get there. But I told y'all, if we get there, I will start trying to utilize this call-in option thing that I want to try. But we got to get there first, so that's on y'all. No pressure whatsoever. Hey, Robinson, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank y'all for being here today, and I really appreciate that. And we'll talk about maybe on the next stream, if nothing else, big breaks, some cool stuff with the defense, and then eventually we'll start looking at the recruiting class for 2022. And we've got plenty of basketball and baseball stuff that's coming up, as everybody is talking about. So, till we talk to you again, thank you for being here, and War Eagle.